What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Week 18 of the regular season. Brett, I got good news.
I'm still positive.
You are. You sitting at 133 and 117 and 8. I'm at 137 and 113 and 8. Now, we did have two Saturday games. I did comment our picks on the last week's video. We went 1-1 on those. Surprisingly, the one we got right was the Ravens covering a 19.5 point spread, but the Bengals could not cover a 2.5 point spread.
Did they win?
The Bengals did win,
Okay,
but they could not cover a 2.5 point spread. They won by 2.
That's
upsetting. It's real upsetting.
Yeah.
But the good news is that means that in reality, you're 134 and 118, and my 138 and 114. Even if we got all of the rest of the games wrong, we would both still finish positive.
Let's go.
There is no way either of us finish negative this season.
That's way better than last year, right?
Facts. Or the year before. Yeah, I think we both finished negative that time.
Yeah, like it was bad.
So no matter who wins, neither of us will finish negative unless we continue into the postseason. Then there could be potential. But for the regular season, we will both finish with a winning record. That's pretty cool. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And we do currently have a 4-game split between us. So if you want to try and tie, you'll have to at least pick 4 differently. If you want to win, you'll have to pick at least 5 differently and get all 5 of those right.
All right.
So
I might assess that at the end of us picking and
right.
be like,
all and right, be like, these are the ones I'm the most comfortable changing.
Next year, yeah.
Right. No, I feel that. So let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the Carolina Panthers. Right.
Okay.
They're heading to the Atlanta Falcons. Okay.
Yep.
This game does matter. I know it doesn't sound like it would, but it does, because if Atlanta can win and Tampa loses, Atlanta will win their division. So Atlanta does have something to fight for here. Carolina getting 7.5. It's a lot.
The Falcons haven't been playing great.
They haven't been playing great. But neither has Carolina necessarily. Let me see. What happened last week? Let me just check that. The Falcons lost in overtime to the Commanders last week. They actually looked pretty good. I watched the end of that game. The Panthers got throttled by the Bucs. 48-14.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Falcons.
I'm also going to go with the Falcons here. They just feel like the better team. Like significantly the better team.
Yeah. Moving on to the Texans and the Titans.
Yeah, so the Texans and the Titans. Texans getting 1.5. Now, I know that sounds crazy. The Texans are locked in to the number 4 seed. They cannot go up or down.
Right.
So they probably rest.
Yeah, are they resting?
I will say it now. I don't care if they're resting. I'm still taking the Texans here.
I think I have to do the same. Also, there's a very good chance they don't rest.
Just to try and maintain momentum? Maybe. I mean, what happened with them last week? Because I feel like they've been falling apart. Oh, last week they got throttled by the Ravens. I remember.
Yeah, they
might. That 31-2. They might need to reestablish.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm good with taking Texans on this one.
Me too. All right, let's move on. We got the New York Giants heading to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. The Giants getting 2.5. Pretty much confirmed all the Eagle starters are resting.
Yes.
With that being said, I'm still taking the Eagles.
Taking the Eagles. All right, cool. You sure you don't want to just take the Giants for me?
I don't. I super don't.
Okay.
I super don't.
Well, in that case, we'll move on to the next one. The Jacksonville Jaguars facing off against the Indianapolis Colts.
The Jaguars are getting 3.5 here. That's tough. It's actually tough.
I will say Anthony Richardson is out, back injury.
Who's starting?
Don't know.
Let me check that because that might actually.
I don't know.
Colts starting QB. Flacco. I'll take the Colts.
Is there anything on the line with this game? Both of these teams are out.
Both of these teams are out. The only thing really on the line is Jacksonville might try and lose for a better draft pick.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think I also have to take the Colts here. Yeah, I mean, you're probably gonna have Flacco trying to showcase
why somebody should sign him.
Yeah. Showcase himself for a job.
Yep.
All
right.
Moving.
Up next, we got the Washington Commanders heading to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. The Cowboys getting 6.5. Commanders do have something to fight for here because if they lose and then Green Bay wins their game, the Commanders will drop down to the 7 seed, which means they'd have to go play Philly. In Philly, and I don't know that they want to do that, so they've got something to fight for here. Looking at the way the things went last time with the Cowboys and Commanders, the Commanders fumbled that game so hard, but they should have. The spread is 6.5 for Dallas getting. I'm gonna take the Commanders here in the finale. They've got something to fight for, and they should have beat Dallas by more than that last time.
And I need you to pick Dallas. You won't. That's fantastic. You fucking suck. Also taking Washington. Next up, we have the Bears.
Da Bears.
Going to Lambeau Field. Going up against the Green Bay Packers.
Da Bears are getting 9.5. Taking Green Bay.
Yes.
It's just
yeah.
Like it's just let's move on.
Yeah, anyway.
All right, so up next we got the New Orleans Saints heading to Tampa Bay. Like we said earlier, this game does matter because if Atlanta wins and Tampa loses, Tampa would be out and Atlanta would be in. So Tampa has something to fight for here just in case. New Orleans getting 14.5. Which is a lot, which is like a lot, but we were talking about it right before we started this recording. New Orleans has like no starters.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Tampa despite it being a 14.5 point spread. Got something to fight for and actually have starters.
Who's the starting QB for New Orleans?
Rattler, I think.
All right, cool. I'm gonna take the Bucs.
Okay.
This is not going well for me. We got the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots getting 3.5, which is crazy to me. But I guess I understand Buffalo locked in at that number 2 seed, probably resting. I'm still gonna take Buffalo. I think a resting Buffalo is still better than the current starting lineup in in New England. So I'm going to take Buffalo minus 3.5.
Damn.
Okay.
I don't
After,
like this. We need to stop agreeing on shit.
I mean, it is the final week. Things are kind of locked up. It kind of makes sense. Uh, Up next, we got the Chargers heading to Vegas.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
this game pretty much only matters for placement. Vegas is out. Chargers are definitely in. But if they lose, they would drop down to the 6th seed and then have to go play Baltimore next week. If they win, they'll lock in at the 5 seed and go play Houston. So they do have something to play for in terms of seeding. Vegas getting 6.5. I'm gonna take the Chargers here. Because I think they definitely want to win. They don't want to risk having to go to Baltimore.
Sure, sure.
And Vegas really only has Crosby going for them. So I'm going to take the Chargers here. Minus 6.5.
Um,
Because I do think they're a touchdown better than
yeah.
Vegas.
No, I believe so too.
Okay. Let's move on.
Yep. San Francisco and the Arizona Cardinals.
San Francisco getting 4.5. This game is a wash game. Both teams are already eliminated.
Yep.
Getting 4.5. I'm going to take Arizona here. I like what Arizona's been doing, and I think they're going to keep trying to build on it. I think San Francisco is going to just have to hit the reset button and come back next year.
Yeah, Purdy's out, Debo's out.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
definitely
man,
taking Arizona here.
they're riddled with injuries.
As they have been all year.
Yeah, no, they really have. They have not really gotten healthier.
No. They've gotten healthier at positions.
Yep.
And then gotten unhealthy in others. All year.
Yeah. It's just been a rough year for them.
It has, and it happens. Dallas
it's
felt the
real
same pains.
Yeah, also taking Arizona.
All right.
Even if some of these people were healthy, I think this year Arizona has just been playing better.
They have been. They've been playing really well. Let's move on. This one's going to come as a bit of surprise to you. The Chiefs are heading to the Broncos and are getting. How much do you think the Chiefs are getting here, Brett? Knowing that they're resting because they're locked in at that number 1 seed.
2 points.
10.5.
10.5 points?
Bro, it's so many. Look,
wow.
Do I think Denver wins this game? Yeah, probably. Because they're fighting for a spot to get in the playoffs. They win, they're in. It's that simple. They win, they're in. They lose, they're out. So they have something to fight for here. But do they have enough to fight for an 11+ point victory? I don't see it. 10's a lot against Kansas City.
It is. I'm going to take Denver.
Okay, I respect it. Let's move on.
You're taking Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm taking KC here for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. The Seahawks and the Rams are up next.
The Rams are getting 7. Now, I think that that's because of the fact that the Rams have already clinched the division, and a lot of people suspect that they'll be resting. However, if they lose and Tampa wins, they would drop down to the 4 seed. They may not want to risk that because they may want to Just stay one seed higher than another team. That's less traveling they might have to do. Um, 7. I think Seattle's been playing pretty decent football this year. I think I like Seattle to keep it close enough that 7 is enough for me to take Seattle here.
Seattle's getting 7.
Seattle is. Oh, I'm sorry. The Rams are getting 7.
Okay, the Rams are getting
I'm
7.
sorry. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, then
yeah,
I'll take
yeah.
the Rams here. I'll take the Rams.
All right. I'm gonna take Seattle.
Okay. After that, we have the Miami Dolphins heading to the New York Jets. Miami getting a 1.5. And I don't know that I understand that, because Miami has been better all year and they're going to be trying to win, because if Denver loses and they win, they're in. So they have something to fight for here. So I'm very surprised that not only are they the dogs, but they're the dogs against the Jets. Let me make sure. Let me make sure that's right. Yeah, Miami plus 1.5 at the at the Jets. I'm gonna take Miami here.
I think I'm gonna take the Jets, unless we know that they're sitting people because it's the end. Yeah, I'm gonna give the Jets one last chance to get a game together.
Okay. And then what do we got for Sunday Night Football?
Potentially game of the week.
Most important game of the week for sure.
That's true. The Minnesota Vikings going to Detroit, take on the Lions.
In a game that decides the number 5 and the number 1 seed.
Yep.
Minnesota getting 2.5. I'm taking Detroit.
How many do we have different?
As it stands right now, the last 3. But you can go back and assess after we're done.
Because I'm also kind of thinking the Lions. Yeah. Yeah, I'm also thinking Lions.
Okay.
Which means I need to swap on another game.
Correct. So right now we're different on KC, Denver, Seattle, LA, and Miami, New York. Looking at the games with bigger spreads in case you want to use that to your liking. New Orleans was getting plus 14.5 at Tampa. I don't think you want to change that.
No.
Chicago getting 9.5 at Green Bay. I can't imagine you'd want to change that. Carolina getting 7.5 at Atlanta, and Dallas getting 6.5 against Washington. Those are the only games that are above. Oh, and then the Raiders getting 6.5 against the Chargers are the only spreads that are above 4.5. Everything else is 4.5 or less. Now, if you think there's things that might matter elsewise, But those are the highest spread games, which are the most likely to swing a different direction, statistically. I'll tell you what, though. Just for the sake of the potential for you to meet and tie me, if you don't feel comfortable changing anything, I'll take my boys and give you the potential to tie.
I will take Carolina.
Okay. Let me find that check mark.
There's a chance that they get the number 1 pick, huh?
Carolina, no, I don't think so. No, they can't at this point.
They can't. They can't. Okay.
Because of Cleveland.
And 2 weeks ago, they beat the Cardinals.
Yes, in overtime. But then last week they got fucking demolished by the Bucs.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely destroyed.
Like just completely throttled.
Like, I'm even looking back at their previous games, and there's like no way to judge. Like,
there's not. They got spanked by a really fucked up version of the Cowboys, but then they kept it close against the Eagles. But then they OT'd with the Bucs, but they lost. And then they kept it close against the Chiefs, but they lost.
And that's all I need is for them to keep it close.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with the Panthers and just hope they decide to play football this week.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So that
probably won't, but
that would put us at 4 games different, which would mean if you swept the week on all 4 of those, we would tie. Do you want to change anything else to make it so you could sweep for a win?
I don't know if there's anything else I can justify. I don't think there's anything that, like, other than me just throwing this week. It's just like, oh, fuck it. Here, take it. So unless you want to go with your boys, that's the only way there's a chance that you lose.
So here's the thing. I like the idea of going with my boys to make it so that we could tie.
You don't like the idea of doing it so that you could potentially lose.
No, because, well, one, I don't like the idea that we can't potentially tie. Like, I like the idea that if there's an even number of games we differed on, so like if it was 4 or 6, so that it could still come to a tie. I like the idea that it can. If I switch and you don't switch anything else, we have to have a winner. There will be no shot at a tie. Unless, I guess that's not true. Unless one of the games that we went different in, which the only one it could be would be the Seattle and Rams game, ended in a push.
Yeah.
Where, like, Seattle lost by exactly 7. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pick Dallas this week. I don't think they're the smart pick here. I was only willing to do it so you didn't have to throw a shitty pick in.
I low-key hope they just demolish Washington.
Oh, I do too. But now I'm in a situation where it's like either they kick their ass and I'm happy, or they lose and I got the pick right.
Right.
Unless they lose by 3.
Yeah.
Which would be what the Dallas way. So, all right. You feel good with your picks?
No, but let's run it.
All right. So that'll do it for the regular season. Just for everybody's simplified ending. The 4 games that matter the most this week on this channel are Carolina plus 7.5 at Atlanta, Seattle -7 at the Rams, Miami plus 1.5 at the Jets, and Kansas City plus 10.5 at the Broncos. Those 4 games, if Denver wins by more than 10.5, Seattle wins by more than 7, the Jets win by more than 1.5, and Carolina can keep it within 7.5, Brett and I will tie. If not, then I will be the winner. So good news for me. I can't lose. I can only, at worst case scenario, tie. And I would love to see it. I think it'd be really cool. But at least neither of us can have a losing season. We got some interesting playoff situations. Also, just to add, just because they are the only team we really didn't talk about their playoff potential, the Bengals did win yesterday. If the Broncos lose and the Dolphins lose, Cincinnati will make the playoffs after starting 3-8. They started the year 3-8, and if Miami and Denver both lose tomorrow, they will make the playoffs as the number 7 seed. That is amazing.
It's rough.
So I'm kind of hoping for that, honestly. I think it'd be great.
I don't see it happening.
I don't either. I think Miami could lose. I don't see Denver losing to a resting Kansas City.
I don't.
I only see Kansas City keeping it close, but we'll see. But that is it, everybody. That is it for the regular season. Let us know if you want us to do anything for the playoffs. We might have one more NFL video coming this year if we don't do the playoffs. Something Brett and I have to finish ironing out the details on. But we may have one more coming, so keep an eye out for that. And with all that being said, good luck to everybody's teams this week in the final week of the regular season. If your team is not going to the playoffs, enjoy your last game of the year. If your team is going to the playoffs, hopefully your team stays healthy and ready to go for the postseason. And with all that being said, thank you guys for joining us for the 24-25 NFL season. And as always, I'm Pip. That is Brett. Y'all are the greatest. And when in doubt, we'll see you next time. See ya.
Be doubtful.
Be doubtful.